Good morning, everybody. So welcome to day 5 of NASEP. After this day, we will have completed one of 2 weeks of our program, of the summer program to specify, because again, this is a year-long program. And so it's very exciting. We've gotten to this point and are excited to continue to learn more from our presenters today, and also have a fun escape room scheduled for everybody. So what we'll be doing today is our morning check-ins, and then we have a presentation from IBM. There will be a group activity, and so be prepared for that. Then we'll go into our reflections and debrief, and then next up would be the escape room. And so again, the escape room is happening during our regular scheduled programming, so we should still be ending by 1 p.m. today, Phoenix time. So again, if you haven't already, make sure that your parents are signed up for Slack and that you're signed up for Slack. I checked yesterday, and so we almost have all of our participants signed up for Slack. We need one more, so if that's you, please go on and create an account and sign on. In addition, we have 16 out of 24 parents. So if your parent hasn't done that yet, please remind them and help them out if they need assistance. We also are needing a couple more photos from people. We have 16 out of 24 in our box. And a lot of these are photos of yourself, which is great, which is what we've asked, but we're also asking that you send one of you and your family as well. We have 23 out of 24 folks on the Nike Run Club app. So if you have not added yourself to the challenge yet or created an account, please do so, in addition to signing up for the ACES membership. So we have 17 out of 24 people. If you're having any issues, again, we do stay on after our sessions end to be able to answer any questions and to provide assistance. So if you are having any problems with any of these areas, or with anything else, then please stay on after our sessions to be able to receive some help with those things.
Carol?
Yes, Rudy?
Just was going to mention that today we're going to be jumping into a different Zoom link as we move into our escape rooms. But as Carol mentioned, every day we stay on afterwards. We do some planning for the next day. And on occasion, we've had some students that have stopped by. They've asked us some questions, and hopefully that has been helpful. I know that a student stopped by and we realized that I think assignments were being sent to a different email address. And so Carol actually went through and put all of the assignments on the Slack channel, and Carol can kind of give some details about where she put that at. And so, yeah, if there's any questions that you have, if there's something that you want to talk about, if you want to continue to explore something, feel free to jump back or to stay on that Zoom, and we can work with you on that. Today, since we are going to jump off of this Zoom, know that probably after the escape rooms, the NASEP staff will come back to this room. And so if you have any questions as we go into the weekend, you can jump back onto the Slack after the escape room and we'll try to help.
Yes, certainly. We are going to be jumping off into the other escape room links, and we'll provide that afterwards. But if you do have questions, come back to this link in order to be able to ask your questions as well. And again, you have us on Slack, you have my phone number, you have my email. So if you're not able to jump back on, you're still able to ask questions and stuff through those other venues as well. So again, just some reminders for participation: to be respectful of yourself and others, to create a safe space for everyone to learn and discuss. Programming starts at 9, so make sure that you're being on time. Be engaged with online programming. This includes limiting any distractions such as texting, being on other browsers, or watching TV, or playing any video games. Again, communicate with staff. We have a lot of different avenues where you can contact us, so please communicate with us. Have your video turned on. Again, part of this experience is getting to know one another. And so if there's issues that you're experiencing with Wi-Fi, connecting to audio, I did send an email that have a couple suggestions for how to deal with those technical issues. An option is to call in using the phone number listed so that you could still hear the presentations and maybe have your audio, your camera still on. And so again, if you're having issues, please communicate those with me and we'll try to work through some of those things with you. Again, I think I put an email yesterday, but if you're having issues with your personal laptop or computer, desktop, with the video, there's also your iPad. We talked about using tools that are at your disposal. And one of those things is those iPads that we provided to you that we want to make sure is getting good use out of. So if you need to switch over to your iPad, then please do so. So this morning we have our lovely breakout groups. I think for the purpose of this morning, because I really want to start putting students into their breakout groups, is we'll do quick cheers. And so for, like, I think we started with swag kids yesterday. So I think we'll go with Blue Twisted Mind this morning to be able to make sure that they're awake and cheer out. So go ahead, Natalia.
All right, Blue Twisted Minds, whoop, there it is. And I am going to pick someone to lead it this time. So Corneliuson, I would like you to lead our chant.
Okay. Okay, we'll start the chant on the countdown. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Whoop, there it is.
Oh, I said the wrong thing. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll do lab rats.
Oh shoot. All right. So I'm awake this morning, amazingly. I hope you guys are. I mean, there's only like a few of you, but anyways, on 3, just yell out 1, 2, 3.
Ooh.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, last but not least, swag kids.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, Swag Kids. I'm gonna count down on 3 and just yell. So 1, 2, 3.
So thank you. I forgot to unmute. I was cheering silently, but again, we are in day 5 of the program. What we're going to be changing our names to today is your first name and your dream vacation spot. And after you've changed your name, put "Yay, it's Friday" in the chat, please.
The vacation spot.
All right, let me think where mine is. Again, if you need to be reminded of how to change your name, just go to your profile picture under participants and then do rename. And so all right, and so Natalia, I'm going to set up the breakout rooms if you could read off some of the ones that you're seeing.
All right, let me do that. And I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Pull me to the side and tell me how it is
And then
pronounced.
breakout rooms. So if you could just read them and then they'll tell each other why they chose that spot.
All right, Denise, Brazil. Yanaba, Thailand. Jeffrey, Tokyo. Tanil, Greece. Ooh. Cole, Colorado. Duran, New York. That's a good one. Where am I? Kalana, Italy. Rudy, Hawaii. Hannah, Hawaii. Carol, New Zealand. Michaela, California. Autumn, Japan. Kiara, Australia. Corneliuson, New Zealand. Kayla, Greece. Caitlin, Tokyo. Asia, UK, Antonio, Egypt. That is awesome. So just a reminder that you will be talking with you're going to be discussing your vacation spot and why you chose that spot and what you learned from the readings and videos. Mainly discussing why you selected your vacation spot. Okay, and I have a new one, Natasha, Hawaii.
Alrighty, and so also if you are able to look at the list of participants that we have, if you notice that your exit buddy is not here, please send them a message on Slack and remind them, except for, let me see, except for Kayla and Taylor. If those are your group members, then I'm already aware of their availability. But if your other members are not, or your other breakout group students, sorry, exit buddies, that's what it is, aren't here, then please shoot them a message on Slack.
I'm here.
Oh, okay, I see that now. Thank you. All right. How does the weather look like in the area that you all are at? You can put it in the chat as well. Natalia, do you want to give a weather update for Tucson?
Tucson is, I'm looking out my window, bright, shiny, no clouds in the sky. It's about, let me see, the weather today is, the temperature right now is 93. So it is a good time to go outside and exercise or work.
It's hot.
I'm getting one feedback that it's hot.
I know that the, what is it called? People who selected Smoke Signals as their favorite movie. That's what I think of when they're doing like the update, is in that scene where they're sitting there and he's like, oh, there's no traffic happening today, blah, 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 blah. But it's a good day to be Indigenous.
It is a good day to be Indigenous.
I
It is
probably
funny.
butchered that scene, but that's what I always think of when people are doing some sort of weather update. Okay, I have the breakout rooms opened. I'm going to give you all about 7 minutes to talk in your groups. And these are randomly assigned, so they may be somebody that you know already, or it may be somebody that you are just getting to know within the program. But yeah, I'm going to open up the rooms now. All right, so who wants to talk about their group and why they chose their spot, their vacation spot? I see a lot of Hawaii's, I see a lot of New York's. Hey, Cornelius, and mine is New Zealand too. And then for folks who may have joined a little bit later, we changed our names to our first name and then our dream vacation spot. So I'm going to have the breakout room 3 talk about what they discussed. I think that was Kayumari and Yanaba. So Kayumari, you want to share?
Yeah, so I had I think it was Natasha in there too. And they both wanted to go to Hawaii because they like swimming and they wanted to see the beaches. And Natasha really wanted to see the volcanoes.
Cool. And then Kayumari, do you want to share why Yanaba chose Thailand?
Uh, yeah, but the audio was cutting out for me, so I couldn't hear all of it, or I couldn't hear the majority of it.
Okay, so can you share why you chose Hawaii?
Oh, I chose Hawaii because I like the ocean life and etc.
Cool. Well, I hope you all make it there. All right, let's see. Let's do group 5. Let's share out with what you all discussed.
So me and Caitlin wanted to go to Japan because we both like the scenery and I guess like how pretty the landscapes were. And then our other teammate, he wanted to go to New York because he said his friend went there and she posted a lot of videos about it. And he said that it was really pretty there and he wanted to go as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's so many great places. Japan is one of them. I've seen, or one of my friends went there recently. Well, not during the pandemic, obviously, but she enjoyed it. And then one of my friends lives in New York and I've been there to visit her. So I recommend if you do want to go, it's a great place. All right, let's see what other breakout room. Let's do 6. Breakout room 6, share what you all covered. That was Hannah, Kayla, and Michaela.
So for breakout room 6, there was Kayla and Hannah, and Kayla wants to go to Greece because she said it's very pretty and she always wanted to go since she was little. And then Hannah said she wants to go to Hawaii because her and her sister always wanted to go. So yeah.
Awesome. I think that there's a lot of beach places that people have listed, and so it sounds like we all want a beach day. Nadlea, are your other members here, or should I keep asking the groups what they shared in their breakout rooms?
I think they're trying to log in right now, so you continue on.
Okay, so next, I think I didn't do breakout room 1. So breakout room 1, if you can share what you discussed. That was Callista, Jeffrey, Corneliuson, and Twanisha.
Let's see. Corneliuson said that he wants to go to New Zealand because he likes the beauty of the land and it's not hot like Arizona. And then Callista chose New York because, she said that she hates crowds, but she only sees people posting it and just thought it was a cool place to vacation.
And Twanisha, why did you choose Italy?
I chose it because scenery, and I wanted to go to Rome.
That's cool. I've actually been to Italy for study abroad, and the food was great. I did get to go to Rome, and so it's a huge city. And what I like about the country and stuff is you could get to a lot of places by train, so I didn't have to drive. At least I haven't driven in a different country, and I'm sure they're thankful for that too. And then Jeffrey, did you share why you chose Tokyo?
Yeah, I did. The reason I chose Tokyo was because I always watch videos about Japan and just the culture, and Tokyo is one of the leading places for technology. And we've always been planning vacations, but stuff always happens, so we haven't been able to travel yet.
Understandable. I do know that when my cousin, she did a study abroad there, when they visited her, they had for the hotel rooms, you had to put your key into the like a switch that was by the door, and that like made everything in the room work, like electricity and stuff. And then you need your key when you leave, so you have to take the key out and then it turns off everything so that you just don't like leave lights on and stuff. So I do think that they do have some really cool technological advances that you talked about. What about group 2, room 2, Antonio, Cole, Tennille, and Zeta?
So Cole said that he wanted to go to Colorado because he said it like just the scenery is really nice, like it's just like foresty, and he said that would be like really cool to go and like relaxing. Tennille said she wanted to go to Greece because she said looks pretty cool, like the street markets, I think like the street food would be really cool. She went to like New Orleans and it kind of like reminded her of that, like just like kind of just like the street culture. And I want to go to Egypt because I feel like they have a lot of historical monuments there. And like back like in elementary school, like when they taught you about history, that was like one of the main things they told you about, like Egypt and all that stuff. It seemed really cool because it was just like mysterious, and like one of the reasons I like history. And now that I know more about it, it seemed cool to go there.
Yeah, those pyramids, right? Like I'd love to see those in person. And Cole, have you been to Colorado before? It's so close. You should go soon.
No, I have not been to Colorado, but I really do want to go. I think it's like I don't know. I just like how like the mountains and stuff, like it's like the hiking and it's just cool weather. It sounds good.
I'm not sure if you're aware, but Fort Lewis College provides free tuition for all Native students. So if you love Colorado, you could possibly go to school there for free tuition if you'd like. Did I get through all of the groups? Did I get through all of the groups? Okay, I don't see anybody saying that I didn't call on them. Nadlea, do you want to share why you chose Iceland?
Oh yeah, so we live in a desert, so Iceland would be pretty cool. So I've been watching like the Viking show and they travel there and it sounds pretty interesting. But also one of my coworkers said he went there and saw the lights, the Northern Lights. So I'd never seen that. So that'd be cool to see up there. So I've been to Sweden and Ireland and England. So it's kind of along that way. So that would be pretty cool to see. I've never seen the Northern Lights, so that's why I chose Iceland.
That's awesome. I haven't been there either. And just you describing it makes me want to go see it.
Yeah.
Did anyone choose the place that they selected because of the food? Yeah, Greek food. I feel like if I was gonna go to Thailand, I'd be like, yes, that's for the food. Italy, it's for the food. New York, yes, the pizza. Did any of the staff want to share, or do we have all the presenters here? You do?
Yeah, they're here.
Okay, so staff, you could put why you chose yours in the chat since we didn't get to have you all share. But I want to give a warm welcome, since we have the IBM team here, to give them the floor and just welcome them to our space here for NASEP. This is our day 5 of the program. And for any of the presenters that are just logging on to describe our names, it's our first name and our dream vacation spot. So that's why they look the way that they do. And if you choose that you want to also change your name to be that, you may. But we're really excited that you're here. We've been working with IBM for a long time within this program and really appreciate the support that your organization continues to have for NASEP, especially because it is a STEM program and everything that you all do is so much related to STEM, computer science, technology, and everything else, because I'm sure that those are just the tip of the icebergs of professions and people you have involved in your team, because it's so collaborative and innovative. And with that, I want to make sure that our students are ready for this presentation, that they're awake, and please make sure that you are putting any questions in the chat. Is that how you would like it to be done? Yes.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. And then once we get to that questions portion, we want to promote engagement from the students. So instead of our team reading the questions on your behalf, you are welcome to put the typed version of your question in the chat. But once we get to the questions, if you can unmute yourselves and please read the question that you have. So without further ado, Nadlea, you all are welcome to introduce yourself and begin. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Yata Bene, everybody. Good morning. So like Carol said, we're work with IBM, or we're former IBMers. Unfortunately, Sherry wasn't able to make it today, so we'll just let her. She helped us with the slides. I just want to let you know that, and she helped us before last year with the presentation. So that's, I just want to say that. So the members of the team are me, Natalea Francisco, Tara, and Matthew, and we're going to talk. We're going to introduce ourselves, talk a little bit about blockchain, if you're familiar. You can put your comments in chat if you know what blockchain is or what you want to talk about, anything. A little introduction, and then we'll do a blockchain activity. So first we'll start with the introduction. I'll let Tara start. It's her slides first.
All right, thank you. So halito, soho chifo ya Tara Astigaraga, chata siyahoke. So hi, my name is Tara Astigaraga. I'm a member of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, and I've been at IBM for I think 20 years this month, so a good amount of time now. I started as an undergrad from the University of Arizona, and I found out about an IBM internship through the NASEP program within U of A. So definitely enjoy being, back and still collaborating with the University of Arizona when I can. So I got hired in 2001, got married in 2002, and then started kind of working through my career path at IBM. So lots of different assignments along the way. One of the nice things about working for large corporations is you can have a very diverse career while still staying with a single company. So that's one thing. I've worked across, storage, some of our server solutions, a lot of the hybrid cloud applications and solutions. And one of the areas I worked in was blockchain research and applications. So I have excited to talk about this topic as well. I've been involved in ACES for a long time. I'm an ACES Sequoia Fellow and received the ACES Technical Excellence Award in, I think it was 2017. So it's an organization I really enjoy partnering with and continually supporting. So I have, I'm kind of going way out of order here, but 2 kids and have been promoted through IBM and worked, across a large variety of the groups. So I've worked in systems group, in the research and development, and also in our corporate innovation office. One thing I'd like to do is kind of mentoring as well as innovation and working on innovative products and projects. So I'm a master inventor at IBM and have 75 issued patents, and always work to understand the technologies that we're working on and be able to explain them to a broad audience. So that's a little bit of my introduction. Nadlea, I think I'll turn it over to you. Are you next?
Yeah, I'm next.
Yeah. So okay, everyone. Thank you.
Toyata Shea Natalea Francisco Yanisha. Jose Touchni Nishlis and Apathy Bashuchin Hashkanzo Deshache Yani Deshanella. My name is Natalea Francisco. I'm from Shiprock, New Mexico. As you see, I was graduated in class of 99. After I graduated, I went to school at U of A here in Tucson. And I went into computer engineering because computer engineering I like math and science, and I like working with computers. We did some computer classes at high school, but not a lot. And so programming, I started when I was in college and I really enjoyed it. I joined different groups, organizations at the U of A, and there was one group, I think it was the women engineers, and they were saying that Tucson Electric Park here in Tucson was looking for interns. So I applied and I worked there in 2000. It was interesting. It wasn't what I thought it would be. So I knew that wasn't the area I wanted to work in. And then the following year, I did an internship at IBM, and it was in the testing, network attached storage. And the testing part was fun. So they say when you're a tester, you're there to break things. So that's what I was there to do. So I learned how to make it work, and then you're just testing different functions and trying to break it, and then they give it to the developers and they fix the problem. So I like that because I worked with different systems, different storage products, and just learned different technology. And then that was during the summer, and then I did part-time while I was going to school. And the next summer I did it, and I worked in development as an intern, and that's the DS8K, which is the same area that I'm working on. And I liked it. I liked the coding part. I liked to code, and it was fun to code and then put it on the machine and test it. And so I enjoyed it. So I like doing that part of my work was the programming. So when I graduated from the U of A in 2004, they hired me on at IBM as a full employee. The area that I worked on was called Fixed Block. It's open systems, and I learned a lot in that area of how. So this is a picture of our current system. It has a lot of storage, and different hosts can attach to it, and open host is one of them. So that's what I learned. And I throughout the years working here at IBM, I joined the Native American group here in Tucson. They did a lot of outreach with the Pasquayaki, Tohono O'odham, and they did other ACES presentations as well. So that's also something I did. My first presentation at ACES was 2008 at the National Conference in Anaheim. And it was what we called Alice programming, and it was fun. And so I enjoyed presenting that with my team. And then after that, we did other activities. So the picture here you see is, I think this was the egg vehicle at an ACES conference. We did it several times, and they had to build these vehicles. And then once they were done, they would put an egg in it and we would test it, and we had different tests. And I think the one they enjoyed was when we rolled it down the stairs and it would crash and see if the egg survived. And I think that's when they really got excited about it. So there was some pretty good designs with the students, and I enjoyed, like, they had some creative ideas, and it was interesting what they came up with. And then I've not only high school, but elementary also, we did this activity, and they also did it too. So it was fun. So throughout my career, I stayed in DS8K, but I moved to different areas. So in 2007, I became a cash team lead, and that was a new experience because being a leader, it was kind of hard, and surrounded mostly by, I was like the only woman on the team, so that was hard as well. But I learned a lot. It was, my manager suggested it to me, but I was kind of scared, but I did it anyways. And I learned a lot, but as a team lead, I didn't get to program as much, and they got all the new functions in the work, and I was just like, I didn't like that. So I moved on to the copy service flash copy team. And that was when I did my first flash copy project, and I really enjoyed it, and creating new functions. So that's where I am right now, and I stayed. In 2009, that was my first patent with IBM. It was a woman. It was me and my coworkers, all women of different backgrounds, and we came up with an idea, and we wrote it out, and it was a good experience, and we continued to work on more and more. So that was my first patent in 2009. Another thing was what I said when I went to Sweden, it was for a client presentation in 2015. And that's this picture here. It was in December, like a last minute, and it was fun. I presented on our flash copy product to the client, and another person from software talked about their copy services functions as well. And it was a good experience going to the client. It was kind of scared, but it was fun. And I knew what I was talking about, my flash copy part of my presentation. And going to Sweden in December, you only had like 3 hours of light, and it was kind of weird. It was like 3 o'clock and it was already dark. So you're like, what's going on? So it was a good experience. And it was like my first time. There was like subways. There's like 3 levels of subways to get to from the airport to the hotel. And that was kind of weird. And I was glad I was there with somebody, because she knew where to go, what to do. So it was fun, a good experience. So that was my first time traveling outside of the States as well. So that was interesting. And then in 2018, that's when I got my ACES Technical Excellence Award, also recommended by different teammates and my manager. They suggested it to me. So I didn't think I'd get it. I applied and I was like, wow, okay. So that's excited. And then we did some other, so for our team, on our flash copy team, we did a product that we got a corporate award for in 2020. So that was pretty interesting. So right now I'm still with flash copy. We are still producing different functions, and so that's where I'm at right now. These pictures here, my hobbies, I like to go run. I used to play basketball and volleyball, so running is what I do now. And me and my sister travel to go run. So this is the Shiprock Half Marathon we did. And then down here, this is when we went to Ireland for a half marathon. So we went to see the cliffs in Ireland. So that was pretty cool too. So that's what I do besides work, is I travel with my family when I can. So after this COVID, we're hopefully to travel some more. So, all right, so I'll let Matthew talk about his background.
Hello, it's Matthew. I'm sorry, I don't have a slide, so I'm just gonna just talk about who I am. I'm an ex-IBMer. I'm no longer with IBM, but I do a lot of stuff with IBM still, and still the IBM products. So I come back from a technical field. I was brought in as a professional hire into IBM, doing something called product build engineering. So basically, if you think of it as like level 3 support, and so it's part of the development team and part of the support team. So by the time the product, or let's say there was an issue on the field, when it got to me, level 1 already took care of it, trying to figure out what was going on. We also got like a specialized person that we trained in-house to go out. They couldn't figure it out. It finally came to me. I basically buffered the customer back to the developers, so at least I can go ahead and grab information, figure out where the actual problem is, and then escalate it up to our system, which is called a CMBC issue. So it's a tracking system basically to find out where we are within the issues. The other thing is also being part of that product build engineering team. We also got to go and provide information on how the product is being used out in the industry. So basically, it allows us to go ahead and provide information, insight back to these developers as of how the product is being used. So we help develop in conjunction, not only to support. So I moved from that location over down to another area called lab services. Lab services allowed me to go ahead and go out and basically teach the product line that I was helping support anyway, and be able to provide a hands-on demonstration of how to go and utilize, install best practices out to the field. Like Nedlea said, you know, the thing with IBM, it was nice because my job didn't entail just me being in an office. I was always out traveling. I was always out at a customer site. I was basically all around the world. Anytime there was an actual issue, they'll be sending me out. And I was, you know, I've been to, for instance, I've been to Kuala Lumpur. I've been out to, oh my goodness, just got a blank. I've been out to Mexico a few times, and you know, these are like big industries that we've been into. So anyway, we got to meet a vast amount of customers. So I left IBM, but the funny thing is they keep calling me back to help them out with additional services. So I'm back. I'm basically a senior storage solutions engineer. So they bring me in every once in a while to help them out with some product that they need help with. Like for instance, my last subcontract with IBM is I was actually a project manager for them for something using, as Nedlea said, she's using the DS8000. I was collecting the information on the back end for DS8000 and showing how to go ahead and get information through better prediction as of, when the system might fail or how it's been manufactured. And we use a lot of stuff like AI and machine learning that allowed us to go and capture that information and send it back to IBM so that we can go ahead and funnel and basically help them develop a product a little bit better, or be able to go and figure out when serviceability for the product would be there. So with that, I am not on a IBM contract, and actually I changed a little bit of gears because in my early years, in my teenage years, actually, I was doing drafting, architectural drafting. Actually, I started mechanical drafting, and I started doing architectural drafting, like commercial buildings. So recently, within the last year, I actually switched gears, and I'm actually doing residential and commercial drafting again. But people are hiring me on as services to provide brand new builds and such. And the only reason I mentioned this part is because there's a lot of problem solving within that as well. A lot of mathematics, a lot of geometry, a lot of thinking outside of the box on the way to get structures up and going. So not only is my engineering skills like from developing and supporting a product, I'm also using it in the other tangent of building homes and building commercial facilities now. So just to go show there's a big loop. It always comes back around some way. I'm sorry, and I also forgot to mention, I'm actually a member of the Pascoyaki tribe, and so that's here in Tucson. So if anyone's Pascoyaki, Los Enchilados. So and that's basically it. That's a little bit of my background, and I guess hand it back to Tara and Natalya.
Thank you, Matthew. So next is we'll talk about blockchain. So that's Tara.
Helps if I unmute. Okay. So today what we want to take you through is a little bit of background on blockchain. So there's a lot of hype, a lot of buzz in the industry related to blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs. We want to start with the basics of what is blockchain used. We'll but as was mentioned, put in questions. So next slide. I don't know if you switched. I just got a thing. Okay, here we go. So blockchain is making headlines everywhere. These are just a few of the excerpts. So Nestle was doing, blockchain for babies. So a way to, make sure that the formula that you're giving to your baby is good. Things like, blockchain for transactions, and how do you use blockchain versus, what the internet did for information. Looking at, business rules and how can we, okay, is my audio breaking up?
Not anymore.
Okay. All right, good. Yep. So things like, business rules and how do we take those business rules and apply them to blockchain technology and to some of the distributed ledgers that are out there. And then, talking about all of the funding that's getting poured into investments in blockchain technologies and also how it's going to revolutionize things like stock trading. So next slide, Natalya. So this is just kind of a very basic fundamentals of how blockchain works. So what it is an immutable ledger that lets you record the history of transactions. And it establishes trust across different parties. And there's also accountability and transparency. So in blockchain, anything that's written to blockchain can never be unwritten. You can append information or make updates, but the history of the transactions that have been written are permanent and forever, and you can see the history. So the way that it looks, if you look at the block one on the left, here what you see is there's an initial hash of the content, and then there's a previous hash of the previous block. So since this is the first block, you'll see that the hash is 0. And what you have is 1 to n transactions. So you have a number of transactions or pieces of information that were written that get bundled together into a block. And then they take the hash of that block, which is essentially taking, when you take a hash of something, you're being able to say that, this is the value of what information is inside. And if any of that information changes, the next time you create a hash, it won't match. So by doing that block by block and not only taking, the hash of the current block, but also including the hash of the previous block, what you're doing is, for example, if I want to change something in block 4 and I'm a hacker and I want to come in and say, the information in block 4 I'm going to tamper with. In order to do so, I would have to hack into block 3, block 2, block 1, and change the entire contents of the blockchain from beginning to end for that hack to not be detected. So it's a way to very securely and show, the immutability of data and the transactions from the beginning of time for a given blockchain to current day. So I'll talk a little bit more about, what this looks like in industry use cases, but from a purely technology point of view, this is how the data is being laid out. Next slide, Nedlea. So the problem that the blockchain is trying to solve is today everybody has, their version of trusted records. So, you have your bank statement, and if you've paid somebody, you keep your receipts. And then, they have their bank statements, and if they've received money or sent money, they keep receipts. And then the bank also has a copy. And everybody considers their records to be the ones that they trust because it's the data that they've verified. The way that it works in business is, there's multiple copies of information and ledgers that every company keeps, and it's very inefficient, very expensive, and it's also prone to disputes. So there's companies that, that would come and say, we paid you from this invoice, and they say we never received that. And so a lot of these discussions go on today in normal business scenarios. So the solution, instead of every party having their own records, is this kind of centralized solution using they call it a distributed ledger, which is the technology that's underneath blockchain. So here, instead of being, every party has their own, it's shared, replicated, and permissioned information that's shared across the different parties. So, the bank records, party A records, and party B's records are all shared in a distributed fashion. That doesn't mean that party A can see all of party B's records, or that I have access to every field of your financial information. It is permissioned, where maybe party A can see 4 fields, party B can see 3 fields, and the bank can see 7. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're all the same either, of which fields every party can see. But the distributed records are one shared replicated copy of the truth data, and everybody is accessing that same data. So any kind of initial questions here? If not, I can keep going, and I have some other examples as well. All right, next slide, Nedlea. So blockchain for business, some of the ways that they're using this, we talked about the shared ledger and the fact that it's append only. So it's, instead of every company having their own copy of the data, we now have it shared. And append only basically means there's no updates allowed. You're only adding information. So if something was incorrect and I correct it, there's a timestamp that says Tara changed the information. This is what she changed. This is what it was previously, and this is what she changed it to. There's also privacy. So you can show appropriate visibility. So this is what I was talking about with, certain fields can be shown or not shown to different people depending on the level of access that they have and the authentication that they have. There's also smart contracts that can be executed. So I can have, a contract with Nedlea that for every $15 I earn, I give Nedlea $2. Previously, Nedlea had to trust that every time I got $15, I would accurately report it and give her $2. But if there's a smart contract in play, what that means is there's like code that can be executed on top of the ledger that looks at my financial records and says, Tara just hit $15, automatically distribute to Nedlea, because the smart contract has that clause in the template. So there's a lot of these business rules that can be put into the blockchain as a smart contract executing on top of it, which automatically does a lot of the things in business, such as, make payments, return goods. There's a lot that can be done there. And then consensus. So the way that blockchain works is there's different nodes within blockchain, and all of those nodes are pre-reading and pre-executing the changes that are being made. And if there's consensus across the different nodes that it is a good transaction that's being submitted, then it gets officially written to blockchain and it becomes a permanent record. So you can also have logic in there that says, in order for something to be written to blockchain, it first has to go through smart contract validation. So for example, I'm trying to make an update. Am I, do I have the entitlement to make that update? Does the update follow some of the rules and regulations that we've put forward in our smart contract? And are the other parties, the logic and checks that they're executing, also in agreement with this update? So there's a lot that can be done to streamline business processing, as well as make it more visible for everybody, so that they all can have faith in what's going on, and be able to trust the data versus always having to verify on their own. Next slide. So with this, I'll turn it over to Nedlea, and she's going to take you through a use case. This was one of the things that we presented at ACES as well, was blockchain for Native communities, and some of the ways that different communities can take advantage of blockchain technologies. So Nedlea?
Yeah, so this is an article by National Geographic. If you have time, I suggest you read it. It goes into how the Native American art, there was I guess it was the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services went to investigate how there was a store in Albuquerque, New Mexico that was selling fake Native American products, and how they investigated and what they found. So this is the article. It goes in a lot of detail. I'll just give you a little overview of what went on. It started off, we all live in a Native community. We have family members or people that will sell their jewelry, arts and craft along the road, flea markets, wherever they can. So that's what this talks about. In Zuni, they have their carvings, and I think it's the Kachina dolls that they make out there. And it said that they 80% of the working adults make their income from arts and crafts sales, and it's getting harder and harder for them to sell it, especially with the fakes out there. There's businesses that will sell at the store the real stuff and the fake stuff is less, so that's where the customers will buy it. What they found was that over, I guess, investigating, they found that baskets made in Pakistan were sold as Navajo, beadwork made in China was sold as plain Indians, and the Hopi Kachina doll was being made in the Philippines, and they found all these products being shipped in, and then they were being distributed across the U.S. at different stores. And so they were investigating it, and here's the samples of how they looked. They have these great knockoffs that they tried to show, and then they have even the markings and stamps to show that it was from an artist from the Native community. And so I know most of you live in Arizona. If you've traveled through the interstates, especially Route 66, you'll see those billboards, Native jewelry made by natives, made by Indians on the highway to different stores. We've seen all those before. So this is just like talking about how it started through the Southwest with the Route 66, and then the tourists coming through and the stores getting set up. So the U.S. Everybody knows that there was some counterfeits, that there are they know that that existed, but they never really investigated it until recently. And so we have this law in 1935 that if you're misrepresenting arts and craft Indian jewelry as native made, it's a federal crime, and this is called the Indian Arts and Crafts Act. So this is a crime if you misrepresent your jewelry and arts and crafts, and it's a penalty up to 250,000 and 5 years in jail. So it's out there, it's just never really investigated. So the story goes on. It talks about how they investigated it, and they found and how they prosecuted that group of people that were I don't know where they were from though, but they were making it in the Philippines, and it was being transferred to the US. And it said that they marked the jewelry with the infrared ink, and then when it got imported into California, and then they got spread out to the different stores, and when they went to the store, they bought the jewelry and they could see that it was marked, and that's how they found out that it was getting spread to these different stores. So that's kind of how they investigated it. And so that was interesting article, and they talked to some of the native artists and how they felt about that and everything on that. So just talking about how they gone about it and the process, like going from the Philippines and then from the US getting exported in and then to the different stores. Blockchain could have been part of the process and saying, okay, is this originally made in this community? Like Tara said, that we can mark who the originators were. You can also go down to where the products were from as well. Like, so I know Silversmith buys their silver and their stones from different people. They could also see who those came from, and then they could be marked. And then they have your blockchain of where the product came from, who made it, and then the stores, and you tell it from. So that's a good use of how blockchain can be used in the Native communities. One other example, I was trying to find something, searching it on the internet if there was anything out there. The only thing I could think of was the NFTs, if you guys heard of that. The arts, the JPEGs, they market and you can sell it, and if it goes to someone else, you can see who it originated from. There are like real art paintings that they also sell that they're using through that as well. And so that was interesting. So here is an example of the diamond trade and how to make it secure. So I'll show that. And if you have any questions, just put it in the chat. Stop. Share.
But in simple terms, he wanted to use a distributed ledger to store contracts. Now, smart contracts are just like contracts in the real world.
This is a different one, Nedlaya. Is that okay?
Oh,
Digital.
is it? It's not the right one?
Yeah, I've never seen this one before.
Control.
There we go.
Okay. Can you hear the sound?
Yep.
The journey of a diamond from mine to consumer covers a complex landscape of legal, regulatory, financial, manufacturing, and commercial practices. Current supply chains have to rely on intermediaries every step of the way, from government officials to lawyers, accountants, dealers, and banks. This adds time and cost. Diamond smuggling and fraud can hamper governments from collecting fair export taxes, and consumers and retailers face the prospect of purchasing counterfeit or unethically mined stones. This is where Hyperledger blockchain technology comes in. It has the potential to eliminate these vulnerabilities with transparent transactions. Blockchain offers all parties involved in a business network a secure and synchronized record of transactions. The blockchain ledger records every sequence of transactions from beginning to end, whether it's hundreds of steps in a supply chain or a single online payment. As each transaction occurs, it's put into a block. Each block is connected to the one before and after it. Groups of transactions are blocked together and a fingerprint of each block is added to the next, thus creating an irreversible chain. That's why blockchain is ideal for recording the mining, refining, and distribution of one of the most valuable goods in the world. It can trace a diamond's path from the mine to the hands of the consumer with exceptional security and transparency. While blockchain works with all types of transactions, there are 3 key features that make Hyperledger blockchain uniquely capable to handle the requirements of a regulated industry like diamonds. It's distributed, it's permissioned, and it's secure. Because the ledger is distributed, it works as a shared form of record keeping, ensuring no one person or organization holds ownership of the system. As the diamond cycles through its supply chain, everyone involved during the process is permissioned to have a copy of every record and piece of data, and no transaction can be added to the chain without consensus across the participants. This means no one person can add to or alter the blockchain without it being permanently recorded, making it tamper-resistant and highly secure, eliminating the risk of fraud and error. No one, not even a system administrator, can delete it. In the case of diamonds, a blockchain ledger keeps a record of high-resolution photos of each diamond at every touchpoint along its journey. It holds certificates of authenticity, real-time records of every payment transaction, as well as product details like cut, clarity, color, carat, and diamond serial numbers. At the end of the buying cycle, there is a complete, auditable, and indisputable record of information.
All right, there it is. So as you can see, they can monitor the diamond trade. So something similar for the native arts and crafts. Okay. Let me share my slide. Okay. So that's that. If anybody has any questions. Okay. So that was an example of blockchain and how it's used in diamond trade, and you can see how we could use that with the native arts and crafts in our communities. Or if you guys have any other ideas how it could be used, let us know. All right. If you guys don't have any questions, we'll have an interactive activity. We'll need you to get into groups. Let me show the slide for the activity before we start.
Is this the one that the PDF link is needed for?
Yes, so don't show them yet. I don't want them to start before. Can you see the presentation?
It says you started sharing the screen, but I don't see the images or anything quite yet.
That's weird. Okay, let me share this one. There.
Still looks black. It says double click to enter full screen mode. There we go.
Okay. All right, so the activity here is we're going to give you a PDF. You're going into groups and you're going to see if the fish is safe. So it's going to help you understand how blockchain works. It's a decoding. Here you have your distributors, your exporters, your importers, and your fishermen. There's Earl, where the fish is good, and Jake, where the water wasn't safe, so don't eat the fish. They have their names and their keywords. This is kind of the information you'll need to look at when you're doing your activity. So this is I don't know if I can say this right, Vigenère square to decode blockchain. You have your keyword on the left and then your encrypted letters on the top. So for example, here the keyword is IBM. So I'm gonna go and look at I on this side, and then the encrypted block is VDJ, so I and V. So I go to I and I go to the left, so I see V, which is D. That's the decrypted word letter, so D. So then you go to B and you look for D, which the letter is E, and then M, you go to J, which is right here, V. So that's how you decode it. So that's how you're going to do it. So we're going to break you up into teams of 4, and Carol can send you the PDF, and then you're going to go into your breakout rooms. If you have questions, let us know. And the first one that comes back wins the prize. So you can get started now.
All right, so Nadlea, there were a couple absences, so I have groups of 4 and 3. Is that fine?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and then I have the PDF pulled up, so I'm going to put you all in your breakout rooms. I'll put it in the chat now. And then I'll also broadcast it to everyone so that you have that link too. So here it is, putting it in the chat now, opening all of the breakout rooms now. Tennille, make sure you're joining your breakout room. Azure, Hannah. Messages to them. Oh, yeah. Your group is finished? Oh, okay, great. One moment, let me check to see with what the team wants to do, but you can hang out here, okay?
All right, good job, you guys. Oh, good job, you guys. So it looked like group 1 and group 2 finished it, and they got, the last person was Earl, so the fish is good. I did this activity yesterday, so it took me a while, and I don't know if you can see that. Nope, you can't. I did it, and I kind of messed up several times, so there it is. So this is what I had. So it was Finn, Matt, Emma, and then Earl. You can see that. So yeah, good job, guys. That was just an example of blockchain. I hope you enjoyed the activity. Is there any questions? We'll we have our addresses. We'll send it to you, Carol, if you guys have any other questions offline. Thank you guys, and hope you enjoyed the activity.
I think that activity was really cool. Did you all enjoy it? Have you done something with blockchain before? No? So if in the chat, you can, if you can put one thing that you've learned about blockchain or something you found interesting about the activity. I know that in the room that Nadlea and I were in, I was asking her a lot of different questions because I'm also learning about blockchain as well. I had mentioned to her that I had asked her, do you watch Saturday Night Live? And she said yes. I don't know if anyone else here watches Saturday Night Live, but they had a pretty funny music video where they were talking about NFTs. So I was like, is that blockchain? And she said yes. That blockchain is like the overarching umbrella and that NFT is a part of that. And so I was asking her some situations where decoding would need to happen, like the decoding that you all did. And so she was talking to me about encryption and why encryption is important. So I don't know if you want to talk about any of those things, just to reiterate what the activity that the students did, Nadlea, and how it can be applicable to other areas as well.
Yeah, so how Tara talked about each block is hashed. It's also kind of like encrypted. So in my area, when we work with customers, they want their data encrypted. So when they send it to someone, it's not seen, or it could be seen while it's being sent. So it's encrypted, and they have a key like you guys had to decrypt it. So that's how they make it secure. So I don't know if you heard in the news or seen recently, but there's been different companies that have been hacked and their data has been encrypted. So the hackers encrypt it with a key. The customer, the user can't access it until they figure it out, and the hackers will like blackmail them and say, give me money and I'll give you the key to decrypt it. And so that's what happened recently with, I think it was an oil company on the East Coast, where everybody was afraid that there was going to be no gas and they have to pay and get the money back or get the key to get their data. So that's one way of encryption, decryption is used. In my area, copy services, we try to tell customers to back up their data. So if that happened and they had a backup, they would just tell the hacker, okay, do whatever you want. I have a backup. I have my data and I can continue on working. So that's a use case with encryption, and even with blockchain, maybe they could do, because it's distributed to everybody. So if you lost your records, there's another person who has a record. So that's also a good use case. And I think, for example, if you have an iPhone, I believe the data when you send it to another iPhone user is encrypted, so it's secure across when you use it with other iPhone users, and it's automatically decrypted for you so you see the actual data. So I think that's something secure. So when you send text messages, if it's not encrypted, people could see it if they hack it. That's another example. So that's just different technology out there that's used today.
And Laya, I was wondering, I was wondering if by chance, because it seems like, again, the blockchain sounds like it can kind of be so helpful in terms of encryption and kind of authenticity. I was wondering, by chance, is blockchain being used in the distribution of the vaccine? Because I would think that you would want to have this level of security to be able to say, like, this is where the vaccine is coming from, and be able to prove that it's like authentic vaccine, I guess, in order to just get that out there and know where it's coming from, know how long. I know that sometimes there's also kind of periods of time that the vaccine is good for. So I didn't know if blockchain is being used in that way.
It is actually. There's a lot of different use cases. One of the things is IBM partnered with New York State, and they were doing a vaccine program of, not only tracking, who has which vaccines, but through the program being able to tell which batch of vaccine was given to which users, so that if anything did come back where, a certain batch of the vaccine, or there was a problem with a certain piece, that those users could be notified. So instead of doing mass hysteria of, there was something wrong with 2 vials and everybody saying, oh my gosh, I had that type of shot, it can say, there was a problem with 2 vials. These are the 26 people who received it. And there's a lot of that type tracing for, like, if you think of grocery store scenarios also. So when we had, E. coli outbreaks with, lettuce, and the whole country simultaneously threw away all of their lettuce. Instead of going through those scenarios, the goal would be know that it was, the lettuce that was transported on this truck on this day that got contaminated. And then through blockchain, follow where those were distributed. And then, those people should throw out the lettuce rather than the entire country.
Yeah, I remember that example you're talking about because we learned about it in public health class. Instead of they threw out all the lettuce, and then the lettuce ended up being from Yuma in Arizona.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think something that's also really cool that you brought up in your presentation is the fact that this blockchain is applicable to Indigenous nations, and the use of that American Indian Arts and Crafts Act. So I appreciate that you brought in that aspect of culture and connectivity, especially to our students, and showing that these areas of technology are important to our communities, and should prompt students to get involved with this field. I know that something we're going to be advising students to do with their iPads is to download the Swift Playground, because they do have iPads, but if there's any other ways that you would recommend students to get involved with coding or computer sciences, any resources, we would welcome them if you have any to share.
Yeah, the IBM.org has a lot of activities, a lot of stuff that you can get involved with. We also have programs that are out there where you can get badges. So everything's free. You can go learn, download badges, and those are things that are good if you're trying to, apply places to show that, you've already gone through been proactive and, sought after skills, and you have, these badges. It's stuff that you can put on your college applications or resumes or whatever in the future. So we can send you some of that also. There used to be a program specific to Native Americans through P-TECH, which is one of the programs that IBM does. I don't know if that portal is still open or if that window closed, but if not, we can send you info for general P-TECH as well. And that's also all free, and there's a bunch of activities out there.
Is that ptech.org, Tara?
Yeah, that's a good starting place. Yeah.
There, I sent it.
Thank you, Nedla.
Awesome. Do students have any questions? No, it's pretty straightforward.
I have one. So when you were talking about the Native American like crafts and how they like detected like the fakes in Philippines, like how did they find that out? Like, was it through like the blockchain or like, and even I guess if it wasn't, how did they catch, or like did the people in the Philippines like ever get in trouble for that? Like, were there any legal actions taken against them?
No, I think it was the owner. So the owner of the store had this company that had imported products. So that's how they figured out it came from the Philippines. And they found out that he had a company there in the Philippines, and they're the one that were making it. But they were charging the owners of that company. I can't remember the name of the person. And so I think it was just, they didn't know, right? So if they had blockchain, they would have figured out where it came from, but they had to investigate. So I guess they saw the products in the store and found out who the owner was, investigated the owner, found out all of these other businesses he had, and found out that he was importing, exporting stuff, items into the US. And so I think they probably see some of it and saw that they were Native American products. And so from there, I guess there's a ledger saying that it came from the Philippines. And so they looked into those businesses out there, and he had a business out there in the Philippines. So it was just investigating and going down the line of what they found along the way. But if they had blockchain, then they would have found right away where everything came from.
Also, I have another question. Do you know if like bigger companies are using blockchain, or like is it still, I guess, in its developing?
I'll let Tara answer.
There's a lot of use cases that are live. So one of the biggest ones that IBM has is we partner with Walmart. So they are tracking a lot of their goods now, especially the ones that are susceptible to some of the bacteria and disease that we were talking about before. So there's work that we're doing there. The diamond mining is a real use case that's out there that we're doing. There's also work going on for NFTs to track those on blockchain. So there's a lot of real live use cases. Some of the different governments across the world are starting to use blockchain for things like health records. It's a way to have permissioned sharing of users' information and their personal data in a more secure, controlled way. So there's a lot of use cases and a lot of actual production stuff out there in the industry, but it is still kind of picking up. So I think we'll see a lot more, but there is good adoption so far.
Thank you. That's a good questions. So just let you know the winners of the activity. Carol will send me your shirt sizes, so you don't have to send it to me.
Yes, I took a photo of the list, so I'll take care of that for you, and then I'll send it to Nadlea. I think this is really cool. I put in the chat that I'm studying epidemiology, and so the use of blockchain can be used for a lot of different things, like breakouts, like you said. If you eat bad fish, or if there's bad lettuce in the community, for a lot of different things. And I'm certain that it's applicable to not only just the examples that you all outlined and the ones that I thought of, but that it's applicable to a lot of different realms and disciplines. So that's awesome. While we have you here, part of the program because we've been talking to the students about networking and professional development, and the fact that you all are here as Native American STEM professionals. Do you have any advice for the students in any way? Or I think that you might have had a slide that had your contact information. You can also put it in the chat if you'd like to, but just to take a moment to talk about your path or advice, because part of the program is showing students that there are Indigenous people in these fields and that they can also do it as well if that's their path that they want to follow.
Yeah, so just networking, just to let you know, I mean, in high school, I was an introvert. It was hard for me to go up to people and talk. But like I said, I was into sports. So when I was in college, my brother had team leagues here, the city leagues here in Tucson, volleyball and basketball. And that's how I met some of the Native American professionals at IBM and Raytheon. So I mean, there's different ways to network, just something that interests you and go pursue it. And you talk to the people in that area. It's still hard for me to go up to someone and a stranger and talk, but I mean, it's you see something that you have in common, go up there and talk to them and tell them what you're interested. If you have questions, they're more than willing to help you out any way you can. For me, my mentors mostly were the females at IBM, and I found a couple that were really helpful and helped me along my career path. So if you find someone that is willing to help you out and along and ask your questions, that's a good person to contact and stay in contact with. So that's my advice. If you can't find someone, move on to someone else and just find that person that you can work with and work well together.
Yeah, I agree with what Nedlea was saying. I think it took me a long time to realize I shouldn't be afraid to ask questions, and I wasn't expected to know everything. You know, now on a daily basis, if I don't know something, I just simply say, you know, I don't know, and, you know, I can look it up, or does anyone know? And I think people, as you get later in your career, you're quicker to say when you don't understand things or you don't know things, because you have the security of, you know, you do know so much and all the other background that you already have. But I think earlier in your career, there's a hesitancy to ask questions. And I think that's when we should be asking questions. And nobody, all of the early career employees that we've seen, when they come in and they ask questions and they show that they're engaged and they want to learn, nobody sees that as a sign of weakness or, you know, this person doesn't know. They see it as a sign of this person is interested in learning. And to us, like that's a huge thing. If somebody's interested in learning, willing to ask a bunch of questions and wanting to kind of dig in and understand things, then that's a great sign.
I was going to ask a question because I think sometimes I'm always cautious when we bring on college students or when we bring in professionals, especially in the area of STEM, that sometimes there can be this perception that we've brought in the people that know it all, because blockchain, even blockchain, right? It's pretty complex, I think. So I guess my question to you would be, maybe if you could talk about any challenges or obstacles that you feel like you had to face and overcome in STEM, because I feel like a lot of times STEM students, as I get to know people within STEM, they oftentimes, it's not easy for them, but it's, I think somebody mentioned it earlier, it's about kind of, as Tara mentioned, you know, it's having that interest, persevering, learning, failing, moving beyond that, and kind of picking up and keeping moving forward. Can you all speak to kind of challenges that you might have faced in your STEM path? Was the STEM path just easy for you, or were there those challenges there?
My STEM path was definitely untraditional. I was a first generation college student. My undergrad was Spanish linguistics and communication, and I accidentally got an internship at IBM and was thrown into tech. So I had no background whatsoever. So I definitely felt out of place. I felt like I felt like they made a mistake in bringing me in. And it took me a long time to get through that. and to realize that they hired me for, potential and because I could learn fast. And as I was going through and picking up the skills, I went back and got my master's in computer science, not because they were telling me I had to, but because I felt like I had to have the credentials in the field. And so I think that took me a long time because I did take such an untraditional path. But I know that there's others that even have background in engineering and still come in, and it takes some time to get your footing. The industry is huge. And I think the thing to understand is that everybody is still learning. Even if you understand everything on your field and you're, the number one person, 2 years from now, the technology is going to change because it always is. And you're going to have to relearn again and again and again. It's just part of the field.
Yeah, I agree with Tara. So yeah, for me, it wasn't easy. I like math and science. It interests me, and I like to learn new things. As you can tell, I mean, I'm not familiar with blockchain, but I read stories in the news and they talk about different things, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm just like, oh, how can I fix this? Or this could be used, this technology, just different things. I look at things and I see a problem. I'm like, oh, how can I fix that? Or it just comes up. But like programming, I liked it. When I started as my interns, I didn't really know anything. So yeah, so you come in, you don't know a lot, and you just ask questions, and you get someone to work with you, and you just let them know, like, okay, how does this work? And you just keep asking questions, and then you'll learn that way. Yeah, throughout my career, it was tough. I mean, like I said, I was introvert, but I did my work, and if I had nothing to do, I would go to someone like, okay, what else do you want me to do? I'm bored. So they would give me something to do, and then I guess that's why they kept me around, because I did my work and I got it done. I mean, I had failures along the way. I write code, something got broken. I learned from my mistake, and I try not to do the same thing over and over. But yeah, you'll fail along the way. Just learn from it and try to not do it again, and just keep going. And if that's what you enjoy, keep doing it, and try to find out what you enjoy. This makes it a lot more enjoyable when you're at work, especially if you have good coworkers too.
I would chime in saying that, you got to realize that now you don't know everything. We don't know everything, and we work in teams, and the teams is actually what drives a lot of the forces that comes up with the solutions. Because as Tara mentioned, if you don't know it, at least there's somebody else that can actually go get that information for you. Or like how Nalea said, there was a piece of the code she's not able to get or understand, but she's able to go ahead and be able to learn from her mistakes. So a lot of it has to be because of team building. I would also say that a lot of it comes down to is problem solving skills. Literally just problem solving all day. You look at something, as it's funny because like as the blockchain, I wasn't familiar with it. I knew what it was a little bit, but not in depth. But as the presentation was going through, it's like, oh, that now makes sense. This now makes sense. And then literally I'm looking at it going, okay, now I'm inquisitive in order to go push myself to go learn more about it. And just those building blocks of just wanting to have that knowledge and be able to go ahead and gather a little bit more, that's where problem solving skills come in. And I mean, and as an engineer, as all three of us are engineers, it's always trying to figure out a better way to make things work and make things, better utilized. Let's put it that way.
Thank you.
I think Natalia was going to say something, but if not, then I can.
I was going to ask a question. For the students that are going into high school, college for their first year and looking for an internship job, and if they get one with the IBM, how would you measure success in that role, and what does that look like for a new intern, a new someone that is just coming in from their first year of college or right after high school?
So I think largely it depends on what field they're working on and what team they get put on. But in general, interns in IBM are normally given a small scope project to come in where it's not in our critical delivery path, to come in and help accelerate something that we just haven't had a chance or the cycles to get to. So it's normally lower stress than some of our other projects could be. And it's a safe place to come in, learn, get to know IBM and also contribute. We also try to make sure that interns get, networking across the different teams and a better understanding of what's going on across different areas of IBM. Since again, it is such a big company, there's, so many different projects that you could potentially work on in the future as well. So it's kind of a learning while also learning how to contribute and working on projects. So it's a very long interview is kind of the way I see the intern experience. A lot of our professional hires do come out of internships.
Thank you.
And then both of you mentioned that you are part of the American Indian Science and Engineering Society. You're Sequoia Fellows or award recipients at the national level. Congratulations again, that's awesome. But we've had the students actually sign up for the free high school membership with ACES. They haven't really had the opportunity to be involved with it just yet, just signing up for the membership. So can you describe your experience with ACES and sort of reiterate and reinforce why you think that they should get involved, especially if they're interested in STEM?
Nedlea, you wanna go first?
Sure. So I was ACES in high school, but we didn't do a lot. Then college, I was on and off. But after I joined IBM, I was a member and I did the presentations, and I saw like how active it could be. I mean, any area of science and technology, there's different groups. They have career fairs and you can talk to them. You can find different interest groups. And then I saw that they had science fair projects as well, which help with scholarships. So, I mean, I've seen some of our mentoring students, one of our members, Dr. Dan Winarski, he mentors the Naval Prep students, and they do a lot of the science fair projects, and that's one of the areas. So, I mean, it's helpful. I mean, try to get involved, mentoring or attend the conferences. Science fair, if you get into the science fair, I think you get to the conference for free, but you had to pay for your travel. So there's a lot of, and there's scholarships as well that are helpful if you join ACES and participate as well.
And the nice thing is this year, the conference is coming up in September and it's in Phoenix. So it's a great year. And I submitted a session there. Hopefully, if that gets accepted, I'll be at the ACES conference this year as well. If you guys do attend, or if any of you are there, please stop by and introduce yourself. We'd love to meet in person. So, and I will also just say that, ACES is a little bit different than other conferences and other groups that I've attended. The other groups or the other conferences are solely focused on the technology, business or very strategic kind of topics. I think ACES is more well-rounded, focused on, the person, the community, how we come together, and technology, which to me makes it, really special. And that's one of the reasons I love attending that conference every time I can.
Thank you. Yeah, for those of you who may not be as familiar with ACES, you can get involved at the high school level, like we're encouraging you all to do. They have a lot of chapters across the country, including here at the University of Arizona, and you can continue to be involved as a professional. So there's many different levels. And I think something that's great that you pointed out, Tara, is like, it's not just about STEM and technology, it's that holistic view of supporting Indigenous people. And so that approach is very special, and one that I hope that we're taking here with NASEP, not just promoting that STEM aspect, but supporting in a way that's in line with Indigenous ways of knowing, which includes community, which includes individuals. And so are there any other questions from students? In the chat, somebody put that there was a few responses to what they learned about the activity. I think, I might have missed it. I might have scrolled past it, but it's like
I
coding.
think Zeta kind of mentioned just the how blockchain was somewhat similar to kind of coding or had that same type of feel kind of to it.
Mhm. Cool. So I think there's a hand raised. Autumn?
I actually have another question. What exactly is IBM? Like, did you guys create blockchain, or was it literally just like a startup, and then IBM like took a look at it, and then like they decided to like put their like help it out more?
So that's a good question. IBM it's called International Business Machines. It's a company that's been around for over 100 years. We started out making, tablets and calculators and all kinds of technology and tools, and some of the first computers and machines that helped to put, the astronauts on, it's used by NASA and a lot of other companies. So it has a very rich history. Right now, what we do, I don't know if you've seen some of like the Watson commercials or things like that. We do a lot in hybrid cloud. So cloud technologies, applications, artificial intelligence, as well as we do processing for like most of the Fortune 500 companies. So I think like 90+% of the banks use IBM, for example, to protect their data. So there's a lot that we do in those spaces. For blockchain specifically, it was actually invented by an anonymous person. It's supposedly a person from Japan, and the technology itself exists in a lot of different ways. So what IBM works with is a project called Hyperledger, which is like the technology that enables blockchain. And it's actually an open source project. So anyone can use that technology. And then we build applications on top of those, on top of that platform for a lot of different partners. So IBM is one of the players in the blockchain field, not the only one. We don't do anything related to Bitcoin mining. That's another question. And I think that's kind of the high level answer. Does that answer your question for the most part?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. Wait. I also have another question. You were mentioning an NTF or an NFT. What exactly is that as well?
Yeah, so what it means is non-fungible token. Yeah. And basically what it is it's a way to have like a digital certificate. Oh, and I have a cat in the frame now. It's a way to have a digital certificate. So think of, if you own the rights to a song, or you own the rights to artwork, or, the rights to paintings. The NFT is the thing that shows that you have the ownership over that. So that if people start using it on the internet or posting it, it's a way that you could claim rights, claim royalties, which is what makes them valuable.
Okay, that's all the questions I have. Also, I like your kitty cat.
Thank you.
Any other questions from folks? I think Rudy stepped out, and it was just when I was going to ask him to do a photo. Hold on. Let me see.
Twanisha has a question. Go ahead, Twanisha. I think you're on mute.
I think she's having issues with her audio. You can put it in the chat and then they'll answer it. Sorry about that.
You might want to check your F4 as well.
Sorry, folks, I had to step away, but I can do the group photo here.
1 second.
Everybody?
There was another question.
Okay.
Are there any disadvantages of blockchain? Good question. Are there any?
There could be related to if you're a small business or if you're somebody who, previously only kept records on paper, or, there's more overhead to getting started. If you're a crime organization wanting to stay anonymous and not have your activities tracked, blockchain's probably not your favorite thing. But other than that's actually a good question I've never thought about before. So thank you, Tonisha. You're going to make me think more. But those are my can blockchain reach out of cryptocurrency? Yes. So cryptocurrency is one use case for blockchain. So you know how we talked about, you can do tracking of art or foods or all kinds of different stuff on blockchain. You can also use blockchain for cryptocurrency and a way to track that on blockchain. So blockchain is not cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is one use case of blockchain, not the only one. Good questions.
Any other questions? I think Rudy's going to start preparing to do the group photo. I like that you're—
I'm set as everybody else is. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, just like that her cat's going to be in the photo.
Yes. Here we go. Let's get that cat. 1, 2. Almost everybody is on the screen. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, we're going to do a couple more here.
Is there anything special you want us to do for IBM? For U of A, we do like the wildcat sign, we do some peace signs, or we could just do regular. Regular's good.
Yeah, I don't think we have an IBM thing.
An IBM.
I just want everybody to know that I'm gonna sell this picture as an NFT. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, one last one here. Gotta do this in 3s. All right, here we go. 1, 2. Everybody smile. Don't blink. 1, 2, 3. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. So I really like this presentation, even though there's so much information in NFT, not NFTs, but blockchain is so complex. I'm really appreciative that you made it really simple. You had videos, you had a great activity and prizes for students to challenge themselves to figure everything out. So I just am amazed by this presentation, and thank you so much for putting so much thought into it and its execution. The students have your contact information now in the chat. We'll make sure to also take note of that to send it out to them if there's any questions. But again, just thank you so much for being here, taking the time out of your day to volunteer and talk to our students and empower them and make sure that they have the resources and people they're connected to be able to pursue areas in technology and STEM. So thank you so much. If I can have
Carol, I was gonna just say real quick, just to everybody that was involved, as we've had a chance to interact with NASEP families in the past, something that's been very important for the families has been that we integrate messages of giving back to the community. And I just want to kind of recognize each of you, because I know that each of you join us today, give of your own time to do that very thing, to give back to these students, to give back to the Indigenous community. And I know that it's not the only way that you do that, but I just want to recognize each of you for that and just say that we really appreciate that.
Yes, I can second that. Oh, sorry, go ahead and lay it.
I'll just say thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening and participating.
Great. If I can have everybody start to unmute themselves so we can do our thank you to our presenters. Start unmuting, and then I'll count us down on the count of 3 as I see more people start unmuting. Great, great, great. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we are gonna send you those photos that Rudy took, but again, thank you so much.
All right, have a good rest of the day.
Have a good one.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
See you later. And so what we are going to do next is, let's see, I'm going to share my screen. I just want to go over the assignments and then, or should we do a break now, Rudy, and then have students come back before the breakout room?
Yes, I was gonna say if we could take a quick break and maybe come back at 11:20, and then we'll do a quick overview of assignments. So that's an 8-minute break. Hopefully that's, do you think that that's too long, Carol, or just right?
8 minutes is good. So go ahead and do what you got to do. We'll see you back here at the end of your break.
At 11:20, folks.
I'm going to share my screen with you all. And then Rudy, if you could help me present some of this information.
Yes. Carol, do we have breakout rooms based on the escape rooms?
Not quite. Should I do that?
I think we'll be okay without them. I think we'll be okay.
Are you seeing presenter or?
Presenter.
Okay, so the right.
You need to do the other one.
Okay,
Yeah.
again, oh my gosh, forever doing the wrong screen. All right, so thank you all. What we're going to be transitioning into next is, of course, going to be the breakout rooms. But what I want to do before we do that is just some reminders for the assignments. And then I'll just go over them briefly because I will email them out. So to complete your daily reflection, we're going to have you download Swift Playgrounds on your iPads, and we're asking that you do the first lessons. This is going to be an introduction to one language of coding, which is Swift, and that's what's compatible through iPads. We're going to have you all schedule a meeting with me, and I'm going to add Natalia's link afterwards. We just want to get to know each one of you individually, and so that's why we have this 15-minute meeting that we're going to have you all schedule. And then since we do have the weekend, completing any incomplete reflections that may not be done yet. And so,
And Carol, those reflection activities were placed into the
announcements,
into the announcement channel on Slack. I'll also kind of I'm going to include a Shishibo assignment, which is just kind of going to be a creativity assignment. The Shishibo can kind of be changed around to 70 different shapes. So you have to kind of create a shape and tell us what you feel that shape what it reminds you of. So it's just a creativity. It's thinking outside of the box. Get it? And so you'll use your Shishibo to kind of create something, and then you'll tell us what it is and or what you think it is. I'll write up that assignment, and it will be in what Carol sends out in email too.
yes, thank you. And then I'll also include a really cool podcast that I listen to. It's called Planet Money, that breaks down NFTs a little bit more and blockchain, in addition to that video from SNL, so that you guys all can view it. Again, it's mainly about NFTs, not specifically blockchain, but it's also helpful information based off of what we learned today. And so without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Rudy to talk about the escape rooms.
Awesome. If we can go to that next slide, Carol.
It's on the next slide.
Yes, because I think we're on the assignment slide is the one that I'm seeing.
I must be sharing the wrong screen again. Okay. So this one, right? Hold on. There you go.
Yeah, that works. So we're gonna be moving into our escape rooms, folks. And the question is, if you're watching the NBA playoffs, you saw that scary movie that's coming out that's about escape rooms. Hopefully we're not gonna have any of those type of incidents happening in our escape rooms. We wanna be able to kind of get back together with all 24 students next week. And so, but these are gonna be our pre-assigned escape rooms. So as you can see, we are gonna have in breakout room 1 is gonna be bomb. It's gonna be bomb, right? That's why I wanted myself in that group, just kidding. Breakout 2 is gonna be the murder room. Breakout 3 is gonna be the zombie room. Breakout 4 is gonna be the prison room. And breakout 5 is going to be the room of madness. So just to explain, again, we're gonna go jump into these escape rooms. We're gonna leave this Zoom session and we're gonna click on something. I'm gonna show you some instructions on how to do that. But as you do that, what's gonna be important to know is that in those rooms, you're gonna have about 60, they're gonna do a quick explanation. You're gonna meet your host there, a real live person that's stuck in this escape room. And now that you kind of jump into the Zoom with them, you're stuck in it. And you're gonna have to help them to kind of guide them, ask them questions, have them look around for you. So it's going to require that students, you be as active as possible. Us as the staff members, we're going to step back a little bit. We might help a little, but we want you as students to kind of take this on and see if you can get out of these escape rooms. I have asked exit the room to keep track of who gets out of their escape room the fastest. So that's a little bit of competition motivation there. And you're going to be working with one another, of course, in your small groups as a community to kind of get out of this escape room situation as well. You use your STEM skills. So what I want to, so let's see. So Autumn is not on the list. And which room do we want to put Autumn in, Carol?
Autumn in zombie.
Autumn, you are in the zombie room. So you're going to be in breakout room 3. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do at this time. I want you to, in the chat, I have placed links for each of these rooms. I just want you to click the link that you're assigned to. Don't do anything else. Please just don't do anything else. If a video starts, hit pause on the video and then come back here real quick. So go ahead and hit those links. Go into, that's going to open up a website. Don't do anything. If there's a video that plays, hit pause on it. And then I'm going to show you, I'm going to start to share my screen to show you what the next steps are going to be and what you can imagine. So it'll be just a second. Carol, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. Hopefully you're probably saying like, oh my gosh, we were sent to the room of the person who has too much stuff on their desktop, which I do. Apologies for that. So I'm gonna jump into my room, which was the bomb room here. You're gonna see here on the screen that this is gonna be a screen that we're gonna interact with. We're gonna interact with this screen, and you're also gonna interact with your Zoom window. So in your Zoom window, you're gonna be able to tell the person where you want to go. And then every once in a while, they're gonna find some clues and they're gonna have you enter a code here where you see enter code for pictures here. You enter a code there, and that's gonna allow some of the pieces of evidence in the room to show up on this board, the inventory board here, and you'll be able to kind of look at those and use those as clues to help you to get out of this crazy room, right? So again, you're going to use your website. This is my Mesa USA Bomb website here, and the Zoom window to get into those rooms or to be able to break out and escape from exit the room. Now you'll see here that on my bomb window that I have a button that says open Zoom. When we end our meeting right now, you're going to go to your website, which you've already clicked open, and you're going to click that open Zoom button. That's going to throw you into the room. The staff members are going to make sure all the students that we have assigned to our group are there. And then we are going to go ahead and then turn it over to our host, who is going to start to kind of teach us about that. So just really quick. Yes, Natalia.
What I'm seeing and what Denise said she's seen is it's book now or redeem voucher. So it tells, it gives the title, the situation, but it doesn't look like yours. It looks like it just gives 2 options, book now and redeem voucher.
Okay, let me double check that real quick. It'll be just a second. So when I click on the link in the chat, it takes me to this. Welcome, you are almost there. Are you all seeing that?
No, I'm not seeing it. Denise is not seeing it.
Carol, are you seeing that?
I think I'm seeing the same thing that they are, where it says book now or redeem voucher.
Carol, can you share your screen to see what you're seeing?
That is what I'm seeing.
Perfect. I'm thinking why. Let me look to see if I can figure that out really quickly. It'll be just a second.
We're online. I think this is my group, right? No, I have madness. I clicked the wrong one. Let me see if I click madness, if it comes up. Oh no, I clicked bomb. Sorry. Excuse me. Yeah, so even
Okay.
with bomb, it says the same.
I'm gonna put some new links in the chat, and you're gonna be able to tell which one you're in. You'll see kind of the names in the links. They're a little bit more complicated, but I think hopefully these will better work, or I hope they better work. So there's one. Carol, do you mind just trying that real quick?
Yes.
Did that work?
Oh, I said
Yes, that's working. That's
okay. Cool.
I'm group
Now-
2 and we're murder, so.
Okay, so I'm starting to put the actual links here. My apologies, I don't know what happened there. It worked on my side, but let me put these in and hopefully this will get us. Be just a second. There's 3.
This is what I'm seeing. So great. So if
There's
you're murder,
4.
the first one.
Okay, so those are the 5 rooms there. I want to just see, does anybody have any questions before we break out into those rooms? Does everybody know what group they're in?
No, I don't, because I was on 2 lists, so I don't know what group I'm in.
Okay, Carol is sharing her screen real quick.
Who's on 2 lists? Okay.
Kyle?
Me, KO.
All right, you're gonna stay in Rudy's. Is there anyone that's missing from this list? Anybody? I know that a couple people put it in the chat. If there's anyone missing from the list.
Okay, so at this point, what you want to do is click on your link, and then when you go to kind of click into that room's Zoom, on that Zoom button, then you're gonna have to, it might tell you to kind of leave our breakout room. So you can either leave our room and go into that, but just make sure that you've got that link.
Is the bomb room, is that link in the chat? Because I was looking for it and I don't think I see it, but I might just.
Your good point. I put in the zombie link twice. Let me go ahead and put in the bomb room. It'll be just a second. Thank you for that. Good catch. Okay, the bomb link is in there. All right. Are we pretty good? Any final questions from folks? I just went silent, so I just want to double check. Staff, if you could just let me know if.
Should I stop sharing? Does everyone have their group? Does everyone have their group? I'll also post this photo in Slack in case anyone forgets. And then Rudy, do we want to put the links in Slack too, just for when we exit in case people don't have the link or something happens?
Yeah, I'm gonna copy those and see if I can send them to myself in Slack. I don't have Slack on my computer, Carol. Are you able to copy those and put those in Slack?
Yes. If you send
Okay, sorry about that. I'll email those to you right now.
Great. I'm gonna stop sharing.
So for group 2 murder, let's see a thumbs up so I know that you're ready to do this. And thumbs up, yes, yes. I see 2, I see 3, 4, and I make 5. All right. Pen and paper so we can write things down and stay in communication with each other.
I just sent without a subject line, Carol. Just FYI. Okay. I think that we're all set.
All right, so do you want to let people know that they can start entering the
Yeah.
room?
We'll go ahead and leave this Zoom room, and then you'll jump into that web page, watch the video, and then you're going to hit that Zoom button on your specific web page.
All righty, you can
Thank
start
you.
heading over. I'm excited. Our team's gonna win.
All right.
Unless Rudy cheats, because he's done it before. Just kidding. Oh, he left. Any questions from anybody? Staying on until everybody leaves.